udila yaruna purabhavage Dvijamani gaura yamani jage Bhakata samuha loiya sate Gela nagara braje Tathai tathai bajalo kol Gana gana tahe jajera ro Dala dala shonara yanga charane nupura baje dala dala shonara yanga charane nupura baje Mukunda madhava yadava hari bole na bolo re vadana bori Micheni dava shegelore rati divasha sharira saje Micheni dava shegelore rati divasha sharira saje Emono dulabha manava deha khaya ki khoro bhavana keho Benavajile jasoda suta charame pori belaje Benavajile jasoda suta charame pori belaje Yudita tapana hoile asta vinogelo boli hoibe vyasta Yudita tapana hoile Keno ebe ala sahoy nabajari doya raje Keno ebe ala sahoy nabajari doya raje Jivanaya nita jana hasan tahinana vidha vipadabha Namaskar kari jatane tumi taka hai apana kaje Namaskar kari jatane tumi taka apana kaje Jivaya kalyana sadhana kan jagate asiye moduyana Timira tapana rupe ridga gane viraje Timira tapana rupe ridga gane viraje Krishna nam shudha kori apan jurao bakati binoda pran Krishna nam shudha kori apan Nam bina kichu nahi koyaro chauda bhuvana maje Nam bina kichu nahi koyaro chauda bhuvana maje Jeev jago Gaura Chandra bole Jeev jago Gaura Chandra bole কোথা নিদ্রা যাও মায়া পিশাচির কোলে বাজিব বলিয়া এসে সংসার ভিতরে ভুলিয়া রহিলে তুমি অবিদ্যার ভরে তোমার লইতে আমি হইনু অবতার আমি বিন বন্ধু হার কে আছে তোমার এনেছে ঔষধি মায়া নাশিবার লাগি হরি নাম মহামন্ত্র লও তুমি মাগি বাকাতি বিনোদ প্রভু চরণ পড়িয়া সেই হরি নাম মন্ত্র লইল মাগিয়া হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে বাজিব বলিয়া এসে সংসার ভিতরে ভুলিয়া রহিলে তুমি অবিদ্যার ভরে তোমার লইতে আমি হইনু অবতার আমি বিন বন্ধু হার কে আছে তোমার এনেছে ঔষধি মায়া নাশিবার লাগি হরি নাম মহামন্ত্র লও তুমি মাগি বাকা अति विनोद प्रभु चरण परिया sei hari nama mantra loilo magia sei hari nama mantra loilo magia Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Paramansa Paribhajagacharya Sattvarishya Smadhati Dham Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Jaya Nanda Gauri Vaishnava Ki Jaya Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya Name Sata Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Jaya Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sam Kanda Radha Kanda Giri Ki Jaya Vrindavan Dham Ki Jaya Navadvip Dham Ki Jaya Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai. Swami the Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to that. All glories to that. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble
Thank
obeisances. You are
you very
welcome.
much.
Please, your camera is off.
Yeah, it said unable to start video. You can't start because the host has stopped it.
Yeah, when you were getting ready, I stopped it. Now you can open it. Yes. Thank you for coming. Now we can start. I put the verse on the screen. Yes.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.19. So how do? We do the word for word, or we chant?
We do as usual, like in the temple, everything.
Okay. Na,
Na,
Vai,
Vai,
Jano,
Jano,
Jatu,
Jatu,
Chana, Chatan, Chana, Jain,
Katanchana, Vrajen,
Kunda Sevi,
Mukundevi,
Anvayad,
Anyayat,
Anga,
Anga,
Ankritim,
Sanskriti,
Ram,
Smaran,
Mukundangri,
Mukundangri,
Hare Krishna.
Nuhanam,
Upago Ganam,
Punam,
Puna,
Vihatam,
Vihatum,
Ichen,
Ichen,
Na,
Na,
Rasagraha,
Rasagraha,
Jana,
Jana,
Vojano Jatu Katanchana Vrajain,
Navayu Jano Jata
Jatu, Katanchana,
Kantachana.
Vrajen,
Mukunda Save Yanvaya Yan Anyavad Angasim Sitim,
Mukunda
Mukunda,
Seva
Sevi,
Anyavad
Anyavad,
Anga
Anga,
Samsitim.
Sankritim,
Smaran Mukundang Upaguhanam Punan,
Smaran Mukunda
Mukunda, Griha,
Upanam
Upago, Hanam,
Papunam.
Puna,
Tatam Ichen Rasagraho Jana,
Vihatum
Hatum,
Nityam
Ichena,
Rasa
Rasa, Graho, Jana,
Navajano
Navai Jano Jata Kanta Charya Ratin Mukanda Sivyam Ayanda Anga Samristim Smaram Mukanda Gagri Upa Gahasamsmi.
was reading.
Beatum Istina Rasa Beatum Istina Rasa Gato Jana.
Umara, do we continue?
Yeah, word for word for word. Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Boy,
Vai,
certainly.
certainly.
Jana,
Jana,
person.
a person.
Jatu,
Jatu,
at any time.
at any
At
time.
any time.
Katanchana,
Katanchana,
somehow or other.
somehow or other.
Of Rajet,
Avrajet
does not undergo.
does not undergo.
Go.
Mukunda Sevi,
Mukunda Sevi,
devotee of the Lord.
the devotee of the Lord.
Of the Lord.
Not
And Yavat,
like others.
like others.
Others.
Nga,
Anga,
oh my dear.
oh my dear.
Samstritim,
Samsritim,
material existence.
material existence.
Existence.
Smaran,
Maran,
remembering.
remembering.
The
Mukunda Angre,
lotus feet of the Lord.
the lotus feet of the Lord.
Of the Lord.
Guhanam,
Upagu Hanam,
embracing.
embracing.
Puna,
Puna,
again.
again.
Vihatum,
Vihatum,
thing to give up.
willing to give up.
Raha,
A check,
Iche.
to mellow. Tanha, person. What happened?
it's okay.
Well, I didn't hear any response.
Okay.
Vasagrahan, one who has relished the mellow.
One who released the mellow.
Mellow.
Jana, person.
Jana, person.
Person.
My dear Vyas, even though devotees of the Lord sometimes fall down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Report. By Divine Grace, Lucy Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Yeah.
The devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of eternal existence because he is rasagraha, or one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association, just like fruitive workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never to be considered the same as a fallen karmi. Karmi suffers in his own fruitive activity, whereas a devotee is a form of chastisement directed by the Lord himself. The sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of the beloved child of the king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has no one to take care of him. But a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be like that, an orphan, is always under the vigilance of his father. The devotee of the Lord, due to wrong association, sometimes imitates fruitive workers. The fruitive workers want to lord it over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Such foolish devotees are sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord himself. As a special favor, he may remove all material paraphernalia. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all friends and relatives, and so he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth in a family of highly qualified brahmanas or in a rich mercantile family. A devotee in such a position is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. The devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families. The fallen devotee is born in a good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate. But the devotee who is put into forlorn condition is more fortunate because he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless and all around. Pure devotional service is so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. That is a sign of perfection in progressive spiritual life. A pure devotee continuously remembers the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna and does not forget him even for a moment, not even in exchange for all the opulence of the three worlds. Om Gana Timirandasya Gananjana Shamakaya Chaksura Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sajajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirviseshanivani Paschatya Desatarini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namani Madhur Jojvala Prema Ja Shri Rupa Nuga Bhakti Da Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namo Varshavanavi Devi Dai Daya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Dinatarane Rupanuga Viruda Apasiddhanta Tvanta Harane Namo Gaur Kishoraya Satchit Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambode Padambujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namane Shigora Karuna Shakti Rupa Nuga Varayate Gaura Virvavi Bhume Swam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhoma Jagannathaya Te Namaha Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gaura Teshe Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Gani Tat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurundina Tarini. So this is very encouraging, I hope. But sometimes you might think, well, it's okay to fall down. Krishna will always help me. So that would be wrong. And we could think that maybe West Africa getting a special benediction that there was not a lot of material opulence to distract us, because we've seen it happen to one devotee. He suddenly got very wealthy and he just not only forgot Krishna, he forgot almost everything. So it can be very dangerous. But there's many stories of devotees who went away, but Krishna always gets them back. The suffering is not the same as like the orphan example here. The orphan is really out in the street and really has no one to help him. The son of a rich man may be locked up in his room for a little while as a punishment for something, but he's still the son of a rich man and he's going to be out from the room shortly and have servants again. So once we really taste the sweetness of chanting, the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sadhana and all those things, and we don't want to go back. But Maya can pull us back. We have to be very careful. Asat Sangha Tyaga Vaishnava Char. It's described by what Chaitanya was asking, what about a devotee? He said, you give up the association of non-devotees and you take up the association, the activities of devotees. By association with devotees, will become devotees. We'll act like them. It's just natural. Associations like a touchstone, associating with materialistic people, hearing them talking materialistic, adventures and desires, then we may be overwhelmed. We might have to work, we might have to associate in that way. We go out and preach to them and we associate in that way, but not intimate association. Just going over the purport, it's a very long purport. So we see, I remember I heard the class of Preacher Prabhu a few days ago telling about his father in the concentration camp. And his father said, before there were Bibles everywhere, but nobody ever read the Bible. In the concentration camp, there was one Bible, but many men were lined up just to be able to read it a little bit. When they got out, they didn't read it again. So it's good to be in a difficult situation sometimes. It's like when Haridas Thakur was put in the prison. The prisoners were all excited and saying the person's coming. And they were asking him for a blessing. And they were very respectful. He said, may you always remain the way you are now. And they were, what? What do you mean? We want to get out of the prison. He said, no, now you're very respectful for the sadhu. You're very humble. And, you really want the mercy of the Lord. So please stay like that. And Krishna may take away everything as a special benediction. And then, of course, like he did that with Prabhupada, then he gave back unlimited. So today I was reading in a Nectar Devotion and a few slokas came to mind, which I will point out to you. These are, you might know them, but they're just very important basic shlokas and they go along with this line. One is Devarshi Bhutapta Minam Pipinam Akinkuro Nayam Rine Charajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Ito Mukundangri Mukundam Paririchya Kartum. So we all know Devarshi Prabhu and Kaduna. This is another Devarshi. These are all the demigods and the sages. O King, one who has given up all material duties and taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. And freed. The debt is, of course, to Krishna and the Guru and the devotees. And that's all Krishna's saying in Sarvadharma Parityajya. You give up all your dharma, so-called, like in the Vedic culture, and every culture has some remnants of this. You have to do so many different yagyas or ceremonies or something to satisfy the material world. But when someone really surrenders Krishna, doesn't have to do that anymore. Then there's some really nice verses by Madhavendra Puri. Everybody knows Madhavendra Puri, right? So there's 2 verses quoted in the second canto in the purport. Just let me find it exactly again. He says, "Oh, my evening prayer, all good unto you. Oh, my morning bath, I bid you goodbye. Oh, demigods and forefathers, please excuse me. I'm not able to perform any more offerings for your pleasure. Now I have decided to free myself from all reactions to sins simply by remembering anywhere and everywhere the great descendant of Yadu and the great enemy of Kamsa. I think this is sufficient for me. So what is the use of further endeavors?" In other words, this is the things we can give up, worshiping the demigods and the forefathers, because by worshiping Krishna, we're automatically doing all that in a much better way, much more pleasing to them, much more beneficial for them. When someone becomes a devotee, then all his ancestors, well, it depends on how much a devotee, but Prahlad, I think, what did the Sringadev say, 14 generations or something? Because of his bhakti, his devotion, his ancestors and his future. So we see how Bali Maharaj got so much mercy. Many others that were in the line of after Prahlad, they also got special benedictions from Krishna, even though they were demons also. So we have to have faith. If we have that faith and we keep chanting and serving Krishna, the whole world is benefiting, not only our direct families and everything. Of course, our direct family, we take care. We're obliged to them to some extent because of them we could live long enough to become a devotee. But as far as spiritually helping them, being a devotee is the best thing. Then he says, "Let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusion. I don't mind. Experts in Vedic activities may slander me as being misled. Friends and relatives call me frustrated. My brothers may call me a fool. And the wealthy Mammonites may point me out as mad. And the learned philosophers may assert that I am much too proud. Still my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, even though I can't do it." So just to give some idea of, the seriousness of surrendering to Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya is making it so easy with the Sankirtan movement. Now, I'd like to know if anything's going on there in West Africa in regards to book distribution. Gyana told me that he sees people taking books all the time, but we never see any scores. I see the movies and pictures of Food for Life, and it's nice. There's kirtan, and that's very good. But I haven't seen anything about book distribution. So especially this month, if everybody gives it a try and distribute some books, it will be the best thing to do to uplift your situation. There's unlimited potential there. Like Prithu said about the bomb, and Prabhupada said that when devotees first went to Africa, he said, you buy a lot of land in Africa because the bombs won't fall there. They're going to bomb the northern hemisphere, They're not going to bomb Nigeria. Of course, now maybe, but then they would lose the oil. They wouldn't want to do that. So, but get the farming going and distribute books so people can know why we're doing all this. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amala Purana, is the spotless Purana. There's no defect, no mala. In this case, the word mala means any defects, any materialistic anything. It's not there. It's all Krishna, nothing but Krishna. That's what we're after. So it's going pretty fast, but like I always say, I'm used to having translation and I have time limits, but let's see if at the moment if there's any questions, and I'd like to talk about a few other things.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
It's Pavitradas.
Okay.
Currently, I'm in Vrindavan.
Yeah.
So I got books. I want to take part in the marathon, but because of the coronavirus epidemic, I'm afraid to go out. Can I get blessings from you?
Yeah. Well, I see devotees are, people are out all over Vrindavan. Saw during Kartik and during Purushottam, so many people doing parikrama and everything. The local people not very worried. I don't know if it's okay with the temple authorities that foreigners go out and distribute books. Usually we can distribute a lot of books right in the temple room in December.
Thank you, Maharaj.
You have to check with them because I know it's not legal or something for foreigners to sell books. And now the local people are happy to blame the foreigners for things.
Gumara, I have one question.
Okay.
Because of the lecture, you made mention of when one becomes a devotee, surrender to Krishna, he saves 14 generations of his family. So my question is saving 14 generations, is it not a material desire? If that is a desire to surrender to Krishna.
Can you repeat that?
If one surrender to Krishna with the aim of, according to the scripture, one is not indebted to the forefathers, to anybody in the family, but one can save, according to Prahlad Maharaj, 4 generations of his family. So my question is, if one surrender to Krishna with the desire of saving 4 generations, is it not material desire?
Yeah, sort of. That's not really surrendering to Krishna. That's just turning to Krishna to get something, even though it's not so bad. And really, if you're really saving your family, it would be means they get liberated. But really surrendering to Krishna means you just want to please Krishna. Whatever he gives you, whatever he doesn't give you, you'll be satisfied.
Okay. I have a second question still in relation to this first question. It said one who surrendered to Krishna is not indebted to forefathers, demigods, society, or whatever. So my question is, how do we differentiate between surrendering to Krishna, not being indebted to forefathers and religious people or society? How do we differentiate it with irresponsibility or being responsible as a child? Because even if we do surrender to Krishna, society still demands some responsibility from the child. How do we differentiate this from irresponsibility?
Yeah, we were just discussing that previously in another class. There's a Vedic system, you have your debt to the forefathers. That means you're supposed to have children, and you have your debt to the demigods. You're supposed to offer you know, puja for them, different things like that. And you offer pinda for your forefathers, and that we don't have to do because automatically it's covered by being a devotee. But sometimes socially, devotees do those things because otherwise they'll be criticized very heavily by the society. So they make a show, but they know that this is not really the way to help the forefathers. The real one, you know, the fact that you're a devotee is helping them much more than anything else. I know I work in some countries where there's kind of ritualistic traditions are strong. And even in India, so devotees will participate, you know, but the real thing is that being a devotee is what's really helping everybody. But we should feel, you know, but like say in my case, first was my father. He was very inimical towards Krishna, and he was declared himself not to believe in God. I don't know what he believed in, but he then he got really, really sick, and I tried to one Christmas after the marathon. I was really happy, and I called him up on Christmas Eve, and you know he just started shouting and blaspheming Prabhupada, and so in that case, I knew that there's no way I could help him other than being a devotee. So I'm still trying to be a devotee. Then my mother also in an old age, you know, she was sick and I couldn't take care of her. She needed a nursing home, you know, needed several full-time people. But I knew I was helping her more, you know, by being a devotee even in another country. I could be there with her. But I know also some sannyasis who have, or even now, Preeti Prabhu's wife, she's a, you know, very highly placed pastoral care teacher, and teaching other people to take care of people with tremendous traumas and everything. But she's also staying with her old mother and, you know, trying to help her at the time of death. But you're not necessarily spiritually obliged to do that. But still, if we want to do that, we have some understanding that we owe, you know, they do. So if we can help them in that way also, it's good. But not if we give up being a devotee to do it. That's the point. Sometimes people will give up the devotional practice to try to help people materially. That doesn't work. Someone else? There's Gana's there. I saw the note to turn on the cameras, but there's only a few on.
If you have question, kindly raise your hand up and put your cameras on, please. Everybody.
Hey, Bhuvanath, welcome. How do you have that picture behind you? Is that a virtual picture?
Myself?
Yeah, you got a picture of a Prikama, Govardhan Prikama.
Yes, Gurudev.
I tried to make these virtual pictures, it never worked right.
Yeah, the click is there beside this, the video. The video, there's a button there, you just click, there's a
You'll have
plus.
to write me how to do it. I tried it and I'd be bouncing all over the place if it came in front of me or something.
That picture is the one. That picture is the Govardhan Paragram 2012.
Yeah, within the Dinamars.
I put it on. It's in your Facebook page as a cover.
I need that. I'm usually in a room that doesn't look so nice. Some people in a room with a big bookcase behind and Bhagavatam and everything. I'm in different guest rooms here and there. You know, there are always these bare walls. So let's do Bhakti Chardeshna, Haribol. Bonjour.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please assist my businesses.
Whatever happened with the house in Cote d'Ivoire? You know, with the fundraising, you did pretty good in the beginning, but I don't think you were near enough to buy it.
Yeah, some Indians here, they are trying to help to get a bigger place, and while we still continue the fundraising.
So you're just going to rent another place?
Yes, very soon in January we moved from here and moved to another place. Yeah.
'Cause the place you had is a good area. Good
Yes,
location.
Maharaj.
Okay, that's good. Krishna help you.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Ganga, how's your health?
Thanks, Ajalotosit Maharaj.
I think you can go back now. You can fly. Damodar Maharaj flew back.
Yeah, I'm not in the position to go now. I'm still intensifying my medications so I can be better when I go back. Otherwise, if I go back now, I may have difficulty assessing the drugs that I'm supposed to take because I'm placed on 2 years medication, only taken for 10 months.
Life is tough. All right. So any other questions? It's more exciting to have some questions. Sahadev's not here today. I remember some of the questions that were asked, and, like about Mahabharata and Vyasadeva and Yudhishthira gambling. See, a Kshatriya, they can't refuse a challenge to fight or to gamble. It's Kshatriya Dharma. So Yudhishthira took the challenge. Of course, it's also Leela. So he also, you know, accepted to let Sakuni play, which, you know, was not an ordinary, it wasn't an ordinary thing. And even one place it says, Krishna said, well, Yudhishthira, he could have said, I have to have Krishna play for me then. But he didn't. He just said, okay. Because that was the whole Leela. They would lose everything and then demonstrate how a great soul, you know, tolerates abuse and losing everything, getting it back and all that. Very, you know, interesting.
Umaraj, I have one question based on these Lila stories. My question is, why do we see all these things as Lila, but when a devotee of Krishna have passed some experiences, we don't see it as also a Lila, as a devotee of Krishna. We see it like a fall down or difficulties. We don't call it Lila. Only the ones of the scripture that we call Lilas. The devotees are supposed to be also devotees of Krishna.
We're talking about Mahabharata and Ramayana and stuff, that's Leela. If I fall down and say, well, it's just my Leela, that's crazy. Like I had my cousin, he was my buddy, and he said, you know, the difference between your religion, I think I'm God. And I said, you just got through telling me for a long time how much you're suffering and how you're not happy. How can you be God? He said, that's my Leela. I just came here to experience misery. That's how the Mayavadis talk. But like say in the case of Bharat Maharaj, it's explained he didn't actually fall down. You know, it was to demonstrate for everybody that, you know, the dangers of being neglectful of their spiritual activity for, you know, like the material activities. It was materially considered very good that he's taking care of this little animal. He's so worried about it. People would admire that very much. But he should have not given up his sadhana just for that. But he didn't actually fall down. He always remembered Krishna. And when Shiva was chasing Mohini Murti, he wasn't attached to the form of a woman. It was Krishna he was chasing. You know. But that was he ran through the ashrams of the rishis so they could see that even the Lord that they worship, might get bewildered by a woman, so they better be especially careful. So those cases are much different than us. But like this verse said, that even if a devotee does sometimes fall down, if he regrets it and he keeps practicing, Krishna will, not throw him out. But I just want to mention about devotee care. I just got information of one incident in Accra. So I don't know exactly everything, but devotee care is not just having money in the bank and, pay some hospital bills or something. It means being very personal and caring for people. Like I sent you all, I think, that talk by Preeta Prabhu's wife, Ramboru, who is a super professional and deals with a lot of devotees and a lot of partners. And it can be the simplest thing of just saying to someone, "Good morning, how are you today?" That's devotee care. It's not just emergency care, to take someone to the hospital. Okay, that's also necessary. But, in this case, I don't know exactly, but it seems like, nobody really tried to take care of the victim by just being friendly, trying to make some arrangement. But the most important thing is to be loving and kind to each other all the time, to make an effort. Prabhupada, I've been reading this amazing book. I recommend it to everybody. If you have a little money, you can order from Amazon. Called A Bond of Love. Got like 300 Madhajis that were Prabhupada disciples. And, their memories of Prabhupada. And all of them just remember that Prabhupada was so kind. Some of them, they never really had association with Prabhupada, but they were cleaning his room and he passed them on the stairs. He'd stop and say, "How are you? Are you chanting 16 rounds? Very good. You keep that up, you'll go back to Godhead." Just simple things like that. Many devotees, they feel like lonely. They live in the temple, but they'll say they're lonely because nobody ever, says, "Well, how are you today?" Or, and that's very important.
Gumaraj, we have a question from Ganga Prashad. He raised his hand up. Ganga, please.
Obeisances at your lotus in Maharaj.
Yeah.
My question is sequel to the question Prabhu Kusha had asked, but I just wanted a little clarification on it. That verse you quoted says that, "and has taken to the path in all seriousness." What if we have not taken to this path in all seriousness? Can we still claim to not owe obligation? And we know we have not taken to this path in all seriousness.
No. Seriousness is stressed. They asked me on Saturday to talk about seriousness and Krishna consciousness. So I was thinking, well, I'm not very serious, so I really don't know what I can say. So I took shelter of the database. And when I put the word serious, it was about 3,700 references. So I said, okay, that's a bit much. So I put seriousness. It was 300 and something. But it's just saying, you know, if you're serious, it means you really, your goal is Krishna. You don't have any other, you know, interest. Whatever you're doing, you know, because we might have to work and take care of family, to take care of these bodies, our own body. You know, we're not on the level we can just chant and forget the medicine and everything. But that, you know, we have like Satchidananda Swami says, when you're chanting, you have to make yourself like an arrow aimed at Krishna, you know, and just keep that fixation that we're chanting for Krishna, we're doing this. Then Krishna might see it, but we shouldn't think I'm not obliged, I'm advanced. That's very dangerous. But Krishna will take it that way. If you're trying to be serious, you're really trying. Unfortunately for us, I've always said this, I heard Peter Prabhu saying, my good friend, you know, we have to take shelter of Lord Nityananda. You know, he's more merciful than Patit Pavanagor. And he will help anybody, but just, you know, you have to make effort to attract him to help you. You have to make some effort. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. You don't have to donate huge money. You don't have to build big temples or anything, but you have to have a strong desire to get out of Maya. And just want to try to serve Krishna, quit trying to serve Maya. Is that all right? It makes sense?
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes.
Like this, what the girl asked today was, someone may think, okay, I'm married, I have wife and children, but I'll just leave them and go live in the temple. No, that's not pleasing to Krishna. Because Krishna gave you the wife and children, and along with that goes an obligation to take care of them because they belong to Krishna. Like this particular case in Accra, I wrote to the guy what I just read back in Gorka Shorthouse Babaji's parents' day. Some new householder couple came to him and he said, to have a Vaishnavi wife is a very rare and very special benediction. And you should serve her like you serve Krishna. So I told him that. You serve the wife the same way you would serve. Radhanath Swami told one of his disciple girls got married. He told the husband, who was also his disciple, he said, whatever you treat her, that's how you treat me. And that's true, like Jesus said, you know, what you do unto the least of my brethren, you're doing unto me. Right? Who knows that verse? The Bible? Gana, you know, right? You still there? Gana is a Bible scholar, but he won't turn his camera. He might not really be. Whatever you do for the least of my brethren, you're doing it for me also. You know? So we have to understand that. Many devotees, they're very anxious to serve guru or sannyasi, but they don't care about serving other devotees, or even their own wife, their own children. So that's not at all pleasing to anybody, especially Krishna. You have to serve everybody like this, because Krishna's in their hearts, so we're really serving Krishna. When we go out to preach, and Krishna's in the heart of everybody, watching Krishna. We want to please Krishna by our effort, and then he will inspire people to take books or join the temple or donate or something.
Yeah, Guru, the verse you are saying is in Matthew 25:40.
What?
The verse of Jesus Christ you are quoting is in Matthew 25, verse 40.
What
Truly,
is
I
it?
tell you, whatever you did to one of this list of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.
Yeah. I was naked and you clothed me. I was hungry and you fed me. And there's one Christian singer that made that into a song, and I cried when I heard that song. It was so heavy.
We have another question from Tribhuvanat.
Okay, good.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Tribhuvannath, by the way, is a
Good day.
great spokesman for your country because in Vrindavan, they love him. And he's really, I don't know, inconceivable. All right, Haribol.
Gurudev, Gurudev, please, how is your health in Bali? I can see some reflections, like you're not taking your medication, Gurudev.
Can barely hear you. You got to get close to the microphone, or you got to talk louder or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
what
you
I'm
don't have
saying,
a good microphone.
Gurudev, what I'm saying, I say, how is your health in Bali? I see that you're some.
You know, I try to answer what Prabhupada said. There's no such thing as good health. He said everyone's going to die. Sometimes I think it's really good, and next day I think it's really bad. It's never good or bad. It's always just dragging an old dead body around. St. Francis said this body's like a sick donkey. I have to take care of it. It carries me around. All right? I like that one. Mine's like a sick pig. It still wants to eat, not capable. Today is pretty good. So we got a new tooth. Very expensive.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other question
Yeah.
from anybody?
From who?
No, I'm asking the floor if anybody has question to ask.
Hare Krishna.
Pavitra Das. Yes, go
Hare
on.
Krishna. Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Booyah.
It's Pavitra. It's Pavitra Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes, Maharaj, devotees are doing life in Africa, and book distribution is not being done. What is the best way of preaching in Africa? Is it food for life or book distribution?
Best is everything altogether. Harinam, books, and prasadam. But for Africa, Prabhupada stressed, you know, the free food because there's a lot of poor people. So, because you can't preach to people to chant or read the book if they're hungry. So, but the best preaching is for the devotees to be really convinced and really happy and very loving and kind to each other first. Charity begins at home. So the best preaching, Radhanath Swami said, is happy devotees. You know, when people see the devotees and they see that this community really loves each other and they really take care of each other, you know, but when they see, well, there's this divorce and, you know, this one ran away and this is going on, and they're not so inclined to come around, or they see devotees are criticizing each other all the time. And it's not only Africa, this goes on everywhere. So the best preaching, exactly what you do, you know, what kind of festival, what kind of programs you have, that everybody can, you know, do whatever they really feel the most enlivened about. It looks to me like the Food for Life is helping a lot there in West Africa, because the Indian community gets really fired up and much more inclined to help you. And it engages a lot of devotees. Yeah, otherwise, so many devotees, they don't have enough engagement, and then they just criticize each other. But if you're doing a big food for life, you have to have a lot of cooking, and then you want the devotees to get out there to distribute it. And everybody feels really happy when people appreciate what you do for them. And we get inspired to do more. And so I've always said that's very, very important. But we need to preach to the, the intellectual people, the universities, people that are, also by giving them books, but reading the books and knowing what they're all about so we can talk to people about them. So I see, the devotees, it looks to me like the young devotees, the old devotees did really good a long time ago. And it's hard to keep up that pace, their body's breaking down. But now the young ones are really going at it. David Rishi and Yaduna, Scanna, and Harilima, Rita, and I don't know who else, right?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, we have two more questions.
Good.
Akenchana from Lomé, Togo has a question.
All
Akenchana,
right.
put on your camera and put on your mic.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Maharaj. I brought your lotus sheet. I brought down to your lotus sheet. It's not a question, but it's about the book distribution. Because of the situation in our country, we cannot go to Arena Matiali because of the COVID and the political situation in the country. We cannot go to Arenam, but we are organized actually ourselves to go alone. Somebody will go alone to the Sankirtan, and we need your bless to have your bless to do it. That is what I want to ask from you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, well, of course you're blessed. Devotees all over the world are faced with this now, with this COVID thing. So in different countries, they're finding ways to distribute books online. Some devotees in America, somehow different places, they're just going out like the old days and doing more books than ever. In the airport or in the park. Some places don't allow it, different in every city or state. Online, somehow or other, we just have to really pray and Krishna will help us. Well, I wish I had the power to bless everybody in magic wand and everybody could just go, but even myself, I just got a special blessing the last 3 days of Kartik. I was really frustrated. Here we have a problem with going out also due to harassment from the caste brahmanas and so we had a couple of programs at Devotee's house, and so I told to bring books, even though there's no devotees coming. And the first one we sold a few books, and the second one was quite a wealthy guy, and his sisters have really sold out devotee, one of the top preachers. So we had a lot of books, and a few devotees were buying because most of them had it, and all of a sudden he came and said, "I'll buy all those books." So then wow, I think this is really amazing. The next day we had another program at his sister's house place. And no, it was at the temple, the last day of Kartik. And we had much more books. And so devotees were taking, okay. And then all of a sudden she came up and she said she'll buy all the rest of the books because she has a restaurant and she'll put them out in the restaurant. So then I got some hope for the future. But I was, on the verge of depression, met a few foreigners I could give books to, but they're very hard to catch. They're all really busy. But we see the power of the books. We read this article that Srivas put up about the devotee in Russia. He just read one page of a book that was all torn to pieces. Became a devotee from that. So don't think, every book will go somewhere and do some good. Maybe not the same day or the same week or year or even the same lifetime, but that Krishna would always find his way into the heart of somebody who's looking for him. Okay?
Okay, Guru Maharaj, we have
Yeah.
next question.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah,
We have next question from George Amega. George Amega, on your mic, please.
Jorge and George. Okay.
George Amega, can you hear?
Okay. Yeah, Krishna Pranam. My question has to do with today, with the Ghanaians, we are having our election. So I would like to know the stand as a devotee. Is he eligible for we the devotees to vote? Because I'm saying that I have to, is it good for me as a devotee to go and vote or not? So this is my question, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, between the accent and the bad microphone and the crackling on the...
Okay, he's saying that in Ghana, today is the election, presidential election in Ghana.
Yeah.
So he wants to know, as a devotee, is it good for him? Yeah, he's asking if he can go and vote as a devotee or not to vote.
You can vote if you want to. No harm. Because it doesn't mean much, I think. You know what Mark Twain said about voting?
No.
You ever heard, you know Mark Twain? Famous American philosopher.
We don't know what he said.
He said, if voting made any difference, it would not be legal.
So again, you say voting means.
If it made any difference, then they wouldn't let you vote. So, and someone else said, the election is not won by the person who votes, it's won by the people who count the votes.
Yes, I think, Maharaj, I think that is true, but what he's asking is, as devotees, because we see around the world, devotees tend not to participate in politics, even though their decisions affect our daily lives. Like right now, COVID-19, politicians control even the brahmanas and sannyasis worldwide. So to choose a leader, he wants to know, must a devotee vote or not to vote? Participate in politics or not?
Well, voting is not exactly participating in politics. We don't want to get connected with a particular party like Varaha did in Sierra Leone. You know, he thought that one party was going to win the war and, you know, he would be the next president or something, and then that party lost and he was put into prison. And Hare Krishna got a really bad name. So we don't want to connect up with any party. If you just go and vote, you know, nobody knows you did it and nobody knows who you voted for. No harm. I think Prabhupada said he never voted. But he never told it you should vote or you shouldn't. Of course, if a devotee is running for office, then you should vote. You really believe that one candidate is much better and will help the devotees in the country. All right.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, George. Where are you? It looks like you're in some shop. Huh?
I'm in a shop. Yes, please. I'm in a shop.
It's your own shop or somebody else?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Really? Good. All right.
Shop in Ghana. Yeah.
Okay. So, 24.
Thank you.
Krishna Sevika, where are you?
That is Kevin of Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Sorry, I'm just lying in bed with a terrible headache, but I'm listening to the class. I'm in Vrindavan for the time being.
But
I've
there
been
was
here
a picture of a girl there.
I'm sorry?
There was a picture of Krishna.
I'm sorry, Maharaj, say again?
There was a picture of a Mataji under Krishna Sevika. Now you pop up.
I have no idea who that is. You know, my name is being changed a couple of times and the images are being changed a couple of times. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know how it's working out that way. Sorry.
You can change it.
I cannot
You
change the image. I've changed my name, but it's gone back to Krishna Sevika a few times. I have no control over the image.
You can change the image.
Okay, I can look into that. Yeah.
You just click that corner blue button there and
Okay. Maharaj.
edit profile picture. And then,
Yeah. Okay.
all right,
That'll-
good. So
Thank you
you're
for
in
asking. Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for coming to our class program today.
Thank you for having me, and I
You
hope we can all get together someday before I end this stay in this world.
you mentioned that you were doing the COVID test for traveling. Where are you traveling to now?
Well, I was just going to travel domestically, and then the devotees canceled it.
Okay.
Like I said, we're having trouble here with the local so-called brahmanas. It's very similar to Lord Chaitanya's time. So they harass us and they put bad things in the social media. And the devotees are too sensitive, in my opinion. And so they get worried. Maybe you shouldn't come now. They had it all set up, you know. In the last minute, they changed their mind.
Okay.
So I'm still thinking maybe to travel to America. Join the book distributors.
Okay.
Get in the fire. Could go to Mexico with Mahavishnu Swami. They're just doing huge Harinam every day. Doesn't seem to be any sickness there. The sickness is a complete mystery, you know. Nobody dies of anything else anymore, only COVID.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hey, Kashinga, Haribol. And Kaduna was there.
Kaduna is a Devarishi.
Salika. Salika, how often you having your food for life?
Maharaj,
You're having food for life every week now or every day? Or?
yes, we do it once in every 2 weeks now. Sometimes try.
So remember, the goal is every day. Step by
Maharaj.
step. All right?
Okay, Maharaj.
See, it catches on like fire, you know, people.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Not also, and I think Kaduna also, a lot of people life. Dave Rishi, what's your astrological projection for the next year? Huh? It's going to get worse or before it gets better? I don't think he's okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj. We ask everybody, kindly unmute yourselves and let's chant Hare Krishna for Maharaj for coming.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Call me right
Hare
now.
Rama.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ibn Abadil Jason